So let's get more on that story in our news bulletins this morning, that nearly 40,000 jobs could be created over the course of the next 2 years in the oil and gas sector. It's a prediction in the Bank of Scotland's latest survey of the sector, and it's an increase on previous estimates. But what does it mean for the independence referendum, with the future of the oil and gas industry being so central and indeed such a bone of contention in the campaigns? Well, Kenny Anderson is Managing Director of Anderson Construction, and he's a member of the pro-independence group Business for Scotland. He joins us now from Aberdeen. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Hayley.
On the face of it, this sounds like pretty good news for the industry.
It certainly is good news. It confirms a lot of what has been said in the past. And if you see the activity in construction work around Aberdeen, there's a lot of new workshop and office space being created, with an 8-fold increase in planning applications in the last 12 months for such accommodation.
Of course, not all these jobs would, if they do materialise, in Scotland, because many of the roles would be located abroad, because many of these companies are international oil and gas firms.
Well, one of the features of the oil and gas industry in the northeast of Scotland is that it's become a base for excellence, which is exported across the world now. And you meet many people in the international airports who've travelled from Aberdeen in the northeast to carry out activity all over the world.
And does that concern you, that perhaps with the North Sea becoming a mature oil region now, that a lot more of the concentration of the firms based in Aberdeen, that focus and concentration will now be on other parts of the world where the oil is more easily accessible?
Well, I think what's provided in Aberdeen is a stable centre of excellence. And of course, while North Sea is certainly maturing, more than half by value of the oil that's been discovered so far is still to be taken out. And of course, that doesn't count undiscovered resources. One of the things that Sir Ian Wood's report pinpointed was the need to encourage exploration. And it was disappointing that the coalition's treasury made such a faff of the budget recently, including changing tax applications to bareboat chartering, which is a key part of oil exploration. And it flew in the face of what they said when they said that they would support Sir Ian Wood's report. Well,
indeed, and this report this morning suggests that about 2/3 of the exploration firms surveyed were intending to grow, but that's perhaps not just as buoyant as it had been.
Well, it's a key feature of the independence debate, that an independent Scotland could provide a stable taxation regime. A couple of weeks ago, the chief executive of Enquest endorsed the moves that the Scottish Government have made towards confirming the stable fiscal arrangements that will be in place in the event of a yes vote.
But on the other hand, other companies have been expressing concerns. Earlier in the year, we've had a couple of the majors, BP and Shell, questioning very much what would happen with independence.
Yes, and I would go back to the budget again. The uncertainty that George Osborne has created flies in the face of what was advised by Sir Ian Wood's report, and that should be very much the template for the future. I think the Scottish Government can provide us a positive and stable regime for the future, which will benefit everybody and encourage exploration, so that we can take out the oil, maximise the benefit of it for the benefit of the whole of Scotland.
What about the bane of the industry, as it's described in one of the papers this morning, this constant skills shortage that oil and gas companies find, particularly with skills in sort of well drilling, engineering skills generally. They're constantly finding it very hard to fill vacancies from Scotland, and that's something which is an issue at the moment. It would still be an issue if Scotland were independent. So how do you go about trying to fix that problem for the industry to make sure that all the new jobs will not be filled by skilled workers from overseas, because we don't have the talent here?
Well, I think there's many initiatives in place already with specialist apprenticeships. A lot of the universities across Scotland and beyond are channeling their resources into engineering and science degrees that suit the oil industry. But of course, one of the issues is inward migration of skilled workers, because some of the policies of the coalition UK government are not ideal for encouraging these people to come. And we want a diverse economy. We want people from all over the world to be involved in the industry, and that's one of the ways of going ahead. Of course, the skill shortage doesn't just affect the oil and gas industry. All the service industries and the associated infrastructure are affected by the skill shortages as well. And while these jobs, it's a massive number, of course, there'll be many, many, many more jobs created in the associated industries helping to service, whether it's hotels, restaurants, my own industry, construction, and so forth.
And it's a problem in a way, I suppose, in that we've seen in the past the fluctuations in the oil price and the way in which that can hit investment in the industry so hard. And of course, there have been times when, the number of employed in the industry has fallen. So is it difficult, therefore, to predict the numbers of the workforce that will be required in future years?
Well, I think it's difficult, but I think that's again a benefit that we would have if we were independent, because the policies could be honed much more appropriately for all the industries in Scotland. At the moment, I think the coalition government and successive Westminster governments has just seen the industry as a cash cow, and they haven't looked at proper forward and sustainable planning. And that's something I think that the Scottish government would be much better at, because it would be much more important to the Scottish government.
All right, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning. Kenny Anderson there from Anderson Construction and a member of Business for Scotland.